In this video, I'm going to show you how to quickly build a restaurant website like this one right here. This is a great looking design with all the pages that you need for a restaurant. Like a nice looking homepage where you can show off the atmosphere of your restaurant and talk about the cuisine. You can also add a nice looking menu page with several different design options to choose from. And of course, a contact page or reservations page so that your customers can know where to get a hold of you. With the tool that we're going to build this website with, you'll also be able to quickly and easily modify the look and style of the pages to match the style and feel of your restaurant. I'm Tim from RealWebsiteHints.com, and it's my mission to help you find the best and easiest ways of building great websites. The tool that we're going to be using for this tutorial is called Jimdo, and I've included a link to Jimdo in the description below. And you'll be able to use the free version to follow along with this tutorial. If you use the link down below and you decide to purchase Jimdo, you'll be supporting this channel and the free tutorials and review videos that I create to help you. So I thank you for your support. So if you have 30 minutes to an hour and you want to build your restaurant website, let's do it. But before we get started, if you like where this video is going, be sure to give me a thumbs up. All right, now let's go ahead and dive in. So this is the Jimdo homepage as it currently stands. Hopefully it'll be the same when you get here. There's something to note about Jimdo, and that there's actually two versions of Jimdo. There's one called Jimdo Dolphin, and that's the one we want to use. It's a very easy to use website building platform. And there's also Jimdo Creator, which is also a fairly easy to use platform, but it's a little bit more complicated. It'll take a little bit more time to set up. And actually I've really enjoyed using Jimdo Dolphin, even though there's some limitations into what you can do with the design. It just goes so fast, and I think that the results are great looking. I'm willing to compromise a tiny bit on the look of my website just to be able to get it done really quickly. So we want to make sure we're using Jimdo Dolphin. And unfortunately, there's nothing that says Dolphin or Creator. You just have to kind of know where they are. So if you click on the Start Free here, just enter in your current email address and a password down here. Agree to their terms of service, and then click Sign Up. And then just go ahead and confirm your email. And once you've confirmed your email, it'll take you to a page that looks like this. So what we want to do is we want to click on the website card here, and it's going to help us to get to the Jimdo Dolphin part of Jimdo. And now here, again, here's a split. This is a split. This side here, the one that says the editor for coding experts, this goes to Jimdo Creator. And on the left side here, this goes to Jimdo Dolphin. And this is what we want to use to be able to easily make our restaurant website. So I'm going to click on Start Now. And now it's going to start gathering some information about the kind of website we want to create. It's going to sort of help set things up for our website. For the restaurant website, I think you can actually do either one. If you do it for a group of people, it's going to suggest a page like a Teams page where you might talk about the different people on your team. So that's something that might be important for your restaurant. You might want to select a group of people. I'm going to select a single individual, but either one will work. There really isn't that much of a difference between the two. And then click Continue. So here on the slider, it's trying to learn what kind of a website you're kind of trying to make. So in this case, I'm assuming it's going to be an established business or a new business. So one of these, we can just select one of these by sliding the slider across, and then we can click Continue on the bottom. And then we just need to give a name for this project. So I'm going to call this Great Bar. And that's the name of the restaurant that we're going to be building this website for. And now if you already have listed your restaurant on either Google Business or Facebook Business, it's going to show up here, and it's actually going to go ahead, and it's pretty helpful if you click on one of these if you have your business already set up, because it's going to pull in the address information, it's going to pull in any pictures you might have already associated with that. So instead of having the default images, it's going to actually have some of your images already in there. So it's a great way of starting. In this case, I don't have an existing business already, so I'm just going to click I don't see my profile here and continue without. And so since this is for a restaurant website, you could also be doing this if you're just building any sort of brick and mortar or small business website. But we're going to do promote a physical business location. We're going to click Continue. And then here it's going to kind of come up with some different layouts for the kind of website that we're going to be making. It's going to suggest some different kinds of pages to create, and it's going to sort of pre-create those for you so you've got a nice starting point. So for this, I could either go with bar or restaurant. I'm going to go with restaurant since this tutorial is about building a restaurant website, and we're going to click Continue. And if you had an Instagram profile already, again, it'll pull some images from Instagram and that'll help you start building your website if you want to use the images that you have from your Instagram account. In this case, I don't have it, so I'm just going to say no thanks and click on continue. And now it's looking for the kind of style, and so this is going to relate to the color profiles that it's going to build for us for our website. Now, I tend to like sort of either the minimal look or maybe like the fancy kind of darker looks. That's kind of what I gravitate towards. And the images that I have for this build are darker sort of nighttime images, so that's going to work well. It doesn't really matter what you pick here. You can actually change it later on. But I'm going to go ahead and click on minimal because that's kind of the design style that I already like. And then here's going to give you some sort of recommended color palettes. I think this is pretty close to what I want. And again, you can change this later, so you don't need to stress about it too much which one you pick. And now here it's recommending some different kinds of pages that you might want to add. So we don't need the appointments page, so I'm just going to unselect that. Contact page is probably good. So menu and contact are probably the only two we need. If you had news, it's not quite a full blog. What it really is more like just a listing of news items, but if you wanted to have that section on here, you could add that. Actually, I'll just go ahead and click on that and you can see what that looks like and if it's something you want to use. Unfortunately, Jimdo Dolphin at this time does not have a blog module. I'm hoping that they're going to add it soon. It sounds like they are still working on adding more features to Jimdo Dolphin, and I think adding a blog module would really be a great benefit to Jimdo Dolphin. It would make it a lot more useful for a lot more different kinds of websites. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click continue. So now here are some of the recommended starting points that it's going to offer. If you don't like either one of these starting points, you can actually click the back button and then click the forward button again, and it'll come up with a couple of other starting points. You can change the look of any one of these sections really easily, so it's not really that important, but it's kind of nice having a starting point that you like. I'm just going to click back one more time. All right, so this is the style I like, just dark. And I think that for this style of restaurant that I'm making this website for, the dark look is going to be the best. So I'm going to go ahead and use this, and I'm going to click continue. Now, if you already have a domain name that you've registered with another registrar, you can connect that and have that linked to your Jimdo website. If you don't have a domain name yet for your website, you might consider doing a search and trying to find a good domain name for your website, but it's not something you need to do now. And I do actually recommend using Jimdo as your registrar if you don't already have a domain registration, only because it's just going to help make your life easier. To start out with this, you don't have to have a domain name at all, so we're going to choose domain name later. And you'll do this either if you're going to be registering your domain name someplace else, if you already have a domain name registered someplace else, or if you just want to decide on what domain name you want later on. So we're going to go ahead and click continue. And now it's building our website for us. Okay, and here we go. So one of the things that I really like about Jimdo is this setup assistant. I think it really does give you some good advice and some good ideas on like how to get started building your website. So we're just going to go ahead and go through some of these basic settings right now. So the first thing to do is to pick your font. So if we just click go to, and it offers you some different font sets. So by clicking over here on font sets, you can have some different ideas. The Great Bar logo that I already have, because I've already built a logo for this website, is kind of this style font. So I'm going to go with this. I also like to kind of increase the font sizes a little bit mostly so that the body text, this section right here, is large. I like to make sure that the text is really easy for people visiting the website to read, and I think that having a large text is a good way of doing that. And then once you've set that, you just click done here at the top. And then we can click next step on the assistant, and we can add images for our website. So it's going to start out with this header image, and this here is a slider module, but I do like the look of the outline around the top side. If you don't have additional slides, I will show you how you can remove it so it doesn't have these additional slides. It's really easy to do. So here we're just going to upload some of our images of our restaurant, and we can upload multiple images, and that way we can easily use them later on. So if you click on the little image icon up here, it's going to add an image to this section. It's also going to allow us to upload a bunch of images right away so we can sort of not waste time with that section. So go over here to so I'm just selecting some of the images that I know that I want to be able to use. And also, if you had images on social media, you could connect your images from Facebook or Instagram. And also, if you are just doing this as a test just to see how Jimdo works, they've got all of these free images. I think they're all from unsplash.com. So these are images that you can use as starting points. And I think these are actually the images that auto-populate when it's building the pages for you as the starting point. So it's something, if you don't have your images, or if you're just doing this to give Jimdo a try and see how it works, you can use some of these images here. Go ahead and actually most of the images that I'm using for this demo are actually from Unsplash already. I found that sort of the 4:3 aspect ratio seems to work best for images on Jimdo. Either 4:3 or square. Those two seem to be the kind of best looking images. And I think that for this website, I'm going to upload a lot of the 4:3 images, because then I can resize them to square using the Jimdo image editor built into each section if I need to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and select a bunch of images to upload. So I'm just going to fast forward through this part. Okay, and then so for the main header image, I want something really inviting that's going to encourage people to come and visit our restaurant and sort of give them an idea of what the vibe is of the restaurant. So I'm going to select from one of these two images here. I think I'm going to use this sort of diner-looking image here. I'm just going to go ahead and add that image, and that's going to add that to the background of this section. And if you click on it again, you can actually drag and move around the image so that the focus point is where you want it. And if you just click again, it'll go back to where we can edit the text for this part of the website. Now, if we want to remove, you can see here we've got a slider. So if you don't have different slider sections or different slider images that you want to put in here, we can remove this. You can also completely change this block. That's one of the great things about Jimdo is it's really easy to change the design of each different section, to add and remove sections. If you didn't like this at all, I happen to like this, but if you didn't like this at all, if you click on the little block design button here, you can use the cover design, and once you've added in your content, like we have the text here, we've got this, we have the image that we added, you can already get a preview of what it's going to look like. And this here is one of the slideshow images. It's this slideshow here, but you could also choose from one of the slideshows and just remove the additional slides. You can also change the color of the background of the image. So whichever of these blocks that you like that looks the best. It makes it really fast to build websites by using these different blocks. Click done here. So I'm just going to remove these additional blocks by clicking this delete icon up here. There we go. So now we just have this one initial block. And I'm going to go ahead and put in a name here. I'm going to go with just Great Bar. This is one of the issues that I've had with Jimdo, is that when you're working in a title section, if you go to the end of the title section and then delete it, it is converting the entire section to the heading tag. And that's part of how HTML works. I don't know whether there's something they could fix in coding so that doesn't happen. But if you do make a mistake when you're using Jimdo, you can either use this undo button up here at the top, or you can use the Command Z buttons to undo an item. Okay, so what I usually do, my sort of hack for fixing this, is just go one character over and then delete everything. And then just remove that last character if you don't want it there. And that sort of, I think, saves a little bit of time. And if you're working in a section like this and you decide that you don't want the text, or you don't want the button, or maybe you don't even want the title, you also have control over that. So by clicking the little eye icon up here in Jimdo, you can add title text, which is going to make a title up above the top here. You can remove the video or image. You can remove the text. You can remove the button. You can add a second button. So that's basically how each different block works, and each different block has these kind of controls. So it's really easy to make adjustments to it. Here I'm just going to add a tagline for Great Bar. And I want this to sort of stand out and be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to adjust it to a medium heading text. I'm going to make this top heading a large heading text. Oh, that's weird. I guess I'll make this a small heading text just so it's not overpowering the Great Bar heading. And if you had reservations on your website and you wanted to either link to a reservation website, or if you wanted to just link to the page where they're going to learn about how to make a reservation, you could use this button for that. So let's quickly take a look at how you adjust the colors overall for your website. You don't have a lot of control over it, but you can make some basic changes. So to do that, we go over here to Design, and then we've got this Color Theme tab, so we can click on Color Theme. The one control we have here is basically to change this key color. Now there's two ways of doing it. One is if we already know what the key color is for our website or for our logo, we can just type in that color here. If we don't know what it is, you can actually upload an image. So I already have the logo image here. Click Add Image. And it's going to sort of derive that base color from that logo image. And then it's going to give us these recommended color palettes here, and then you can decide sort of how colorful or not that you want it to be. And if we click Done here, and if we go back to our different page sections, it's going to add in some slightly different colors that we might want to use for our website. What I have found is that the colors tend to work pretty well. They're not always exactly what I want, but just by kind of playing with that default color, the one color that you can choose from, I can usually find a palette that I like and that I want to use. Okay, then let's sort of continue on here. And here, this section here, you could use it if you wanted to talk about your food philosophy or a little bit about your cuisine. You could have a little bit of information here about that, and then you can have it linked to another page on that if you wanted to. In this case, I'm just going to delete this section because I don't want to use it. So to delete a section, you click on the three dots here, and then you click the trash can icon, and that's going to delete that section. And we can just add in our own text here. And then later on, I'll show you how to link this button so that it goes to our menu page that we're going to create. Okay, here I'm just going to change this image to show something that's off the menu from the restaurant. There we go. And this section, I don't think I need it, so I'm going to get rid of it. And then this bottom section here is the footer, and we'll be making adjustments to that in a minute. But what I do want to do is add another section that's going to sort of show the upcoming events that are happening at Great Bar. So for this, I'm going to use the columns block. And you can see here how it's showing this preview of everything being white, and that's because the white background is selected up here. And so to change the background of any one of the blocks, you have access to these colors here. But I want to stick with the black color for this. And then I've got 4 different upcoming events that I want to highlight here. So I'm going to use this 4-column layout. You can actually add more columns or remove columns later on by using the trash can icon or the plus icon here. And we'll just change this heading here to And so the first event is Chef's Table, so I'm going to pull in a picture of the chef. And then it's so easy to change text. You just click on it and then just start typing. It's exactly what you would expect. So here I just entered a little bit of information about what this event's about, and then I just used bold to sort of highlight the date and the fact that reservations are required. And I think for this section here, I don't want to have the button show up because there's really nothing that they can go to. So to remove the button again, we're just going to go up to the eye icon up here, and we're just going to click primary button and remove that. And then I'm going to go ahead and just add these other sections for the other events that are coming up, and I'm just going to fast forward through the section while I do that. Okay, so now we've got that section taken care of. And the last thing I want to do is, on the home page here, is I want to add in the business's logo instead of having just this text here. So to do that, we can just click on the eye icon. We can do Add Logo. And we'll just click on Logo. Now, if you don't have a logo for your business already, Jimdo actually has a free tool, and I've used it before to create a logo. Just create some fairly generic looking logos, but they do look professional. And if you don't have a logo yet, it could be a great way to go. So you can just click on this and it'll create a logo for you, and then you just need to download that logo to your computer. But in this case, I already have a logo that I've created for this restaurant, so I'm just going to upload that. And then I'm going to remove the text here by, again, clicking on the eye icon and clicking Remove Text. And I'm going to remove this button here because I'm just going to have a, well, I guess I'll leave that button actually, and we'll just have this button go to reservations, and then either we can have it linked to a reservation website like Resi, or we can just have it go to the contact page of where they can call or email to make a reservation. Okay, there we go. So far, a pretty good looking homepage, I think. Let's go ahead and we're going to add the logo to the footer, and I also want to add in our address. I think it's always a good idea to have your address and phone number listed right on every page, and by adding it to the footer, it's going to be right there on every page. So I'm going to click on the show elements, I'm going to add text. And I think I'm actually also going to put in, and we'll put in the phone number just down below it. Okay, and if you don't like the layout of the footer, which I actually don't, if you click on the block design button here, you get a couple different layout options. I'm going to go with this one here where it's got the logo in the middle, our address on one side, and then the default links to things like the privacy policy and the cookie settings over here on the side. And then this bottom section here is because we're using the free Jimdo account. The base Jimdo account, which is $9 a month, allows you to have, I believe, 10 pages. And with Jimdo, I feel like it's just such a great way to quickly get a website up and running. I mean, even if it's something you're only going to have for a few months, the fact that you can get it done in just, an hour or so, you can have an entire nice looking website built, I think is a great feature. So now to add another page or to edit another page, you can actually either click on it in the menu up here, or up here at the top, there's this link that says Pages. And here you can either add a new page. So if you click the plus icon here, it's going to add a page under menus. So if you wanted to have, say, a different page for appetizers, a different page for mains, a different page for desserts, you could do that. I'm going to put them all on one page. Or if you wanted to add a new page here that was like for reservations, you could add that here. But I'm just going to drive all of the reservation buttons to the contact page. So let's go ahead and edit the menu. So to edit the menu, again, we have two options. We can either click the menu button up here in the website menu, or we can click these three dots and then click Go To. So here Jimdo has defaulted to using this 3-column block for a menu, which actually could be a really good choice. We also have some specialty block designs that Jimdo has created specifically for making a menu. So if you click on menus here, you can click on this and you can sort of see what those look like. I'm going to go with this design to start out with, and then we might change it up. So what I did to add text here was I'm going to go with appetizers. I think I spelled that right. Thank God for spell check. And then I'm just going to go ahead and, so the first, and paste this in. So now what I did here, and what I think kind of helps differentiate each item, is to just make the item name bold, make the description of it sort of standard text, and then here add in a price. The other thing I really recommend that you do if you're running a restaurant is to add any of those sort of regular questions that you get from customers onto your website. One of the things that I'm always looking for when I go to a restaurant website is things for like gluten-free. My wife needs to eat gluten-free. A lot of our friends are vegetarians. And so when we're trying to decide on which restaurant we want to go to, it's really good to be able to see those things right on the restaurant's website without having to call and ask whether they have those options. So I'm going to go ahead and add some notations for those. And then at the bottom, we'll add in a key that will tell the customers what those different notations mean. And then I'm just going to make those italic just to sort of differentiate them from everything else. And then I'm going to add in my desserts here. And again, if you wanted to add in a dessert yourself, you could add in, you just type it in, and then add in the price. Basically just a basic text editor. Make this one bold. You can add a vegetarian notation here and make that italic. And then I'm just going to paste in the rest of the menu items that I've already set up, and I've already done all of the formatting, as you can see here. And now if we wanted so here with the default setup, we have the appetizers and then we have the desserts, but we want the mains actually probably to come after the appetizers because that just kind of makes more sense. So in order to move things around in these sections, when we have these different pre-made blocks within blocks, I guess you could say, if you use these arrow keys, move left and move right, it's actually going to move the mains up. And so that's how we're going to move the different sections, or if you had the columns, that's how you'd move the different columns back and forth. And I'm just going to add sort of my own custom images here for each one of these sections. And if you wanted to move these around, again, you just click on it, and then you can drag around so the focus point is where you want it. Okay, and there we go. So I think this is a pretty good looking menu page, but if you didn't like it for some reason, it's really easy. Again, you just click on block designs here, and you can actually see a preview of what your content will look like. Well, in most cases, this one here, it didn't show up. But in most cases, you'll see a preview of what your content will look like with these different menu layout options. And also the columns, that could be a good way to go. You can see what that would look like with the different columns. Actually, I do kind of like the columns too. That's going to be a tough one to decide. I think I'm going to stick with this layout here, but you can see how you can quickly see what these different layouts are going to look like. And this is what makes building with Jimdo so easy and sort of powerful, is the ability to like really visualize what the changes are going to be and actually make these changes really quickly. And also, if you wanted this page for some reason to be a different color, you can just, again, click on the different colors up here and change those colors. Okay, so the one thing I do want to do is I do want to add a title for this page that says menu. So to do that, I'm just going to click on the show elements icon. I'm going to add the block title. It's going to add the title for that block. So at the bottom here, let's just add a little legend that tells us what the GF and the VG mean on our website. So to do that, we just need to click the plus button to add a new section. I'm going to look for a section. I'm going to go to, I think, the columns section here. Set this to black. Let's check out the menu section. Text. Okay, I think text. This text blocks should look pretty good. It'll definitely stand out too. And then I'm just going to add in our allergy information right here. And then for this, we don't need the second block here, so we can just delete it. And there we go. Now we've got our allergy information in there also. And then let's go over to our contact page. And we'll add an image of our bar here. And I'm going to change this to say reservations, actually. Again, just leave that one character in there so that doesn't happen. You can select all of the text and then change it back to the body if you want, but I find it easier to just put that in here. And if we wanted to make this center, which I think would actually look nice, we just click the alignment button there and click center, and we'll center this text. We'll center this, and we'll center this. There we go. And if you wanted to, this here is kind of a default form for having them send an email message to you. And you can actually also add a map, which I think is always a good function. So if you use the little eye icon, these I think pretty sure that all of the different contact modules here have a map built in. So to add the map back, you just click on the eye icon and then click on map. And then to have it go to where you want it to go, you just type in your address. There we go. And now that map will show up and it'll show the location of your restaurant or store there. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is just to add the links that we need on our website. So the links to the buttons and the links to any other parts of our website that need links. So things like this reservation button, to add that link so it goes to the reservations page or to the contact page, you just want to click on the button and then click on this little chain link icon here. In this case, I've already linked it up, but if you need to change the link, you can click Change Link here, then you decide where you want it to go. I'm going to have it go to one of our pages. I'm going to have it go to the reservations page. I'm going to do the same thing with this button here. Just click on the button, click on the link, and then you can have it either go to an external URL, that's what you would do here, or an email address. You can have it also set up for a phone, which is a great thing to do if you're trying to encourage people who are using their mobile devices to call you. You can set up a button as a phone call button, and on a mobile device, it will dial that phone number. In this case, we'll just have it set to a page, and we'll have it go to the reservations page. And you can also do the same thing with text. Say, for example, you wanted this menu item here to link to the menu. You can just highlight the text here, then click the link button, and then decide which page or URL you want it to go to. So in this case, we'll have it go to the menu. And we can do the same thing with this menu button. So you can see it's really straightforward and easy to add links or change links on your website. Now let's go ahead and look at news. So here's the news section. Again, it's not really a blog, it's just a listing of different items. So, where I had put the events on the home page, I might also want to add those to that news page. Or if we just wanted to get rid of the news page, if you don't feel like it applies to you, we can just go over here to pages, click on the news, click on the three dots next to news, and then click delete. Okay, so there we go. I think we've made a pretty good looking website. And if you wanted to keep tweaking it, if you wanted to sort of maybe try some different design looks or different color looks, you can click on this and you can just click the different colors to get the different colors, all sorts of things that you can kind of play with and try out. But you can see how fast using these pre-made blocks building a website with Jimdo is and how easy it is. And I think it's pretty fun. So now the last thing we want to do is let's just go back over to the assistant here. And I've pretty much covered everything that the assistant covers. The one thing you might want to do is just go through the SEO tools, and the SEO tools are not available on the free version, but they are available on the paid version. So if you step up to the next level, it'll have a couple of different checkpoints here for you to go through that'll help with your website's search engine optimization. So those are some good tips that it offers there. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. I know it was a kind of a quick run through, but Jimdo is just such an easy tool to use that if you have a restaurant and you just need to quickly get a website up, and I think it's really important for all businesses, especially restaurants, to have a website. It's a great place to sort of answer those regularly asked questions that customers have for you. And it's kind of like your sales pitch to people who are searching on Google or searching on Facebook or Yelp to find out more about your restaurant and whether they want to go there. So I think definitely putting in what makes your restaurant special, whether or not items on your menu are gluten-free or vegetarian, all of those things can help somebody decide to go to your restaurant versus going to another restaurant, and also can save you some time on the phone by answering those questions right on your website. So I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions about using Jimdo or building websites in general, please leave them in the comments below. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.